Hello, this is Ivana.
And this is Yao.
And you're listening to the podcast Life in Black and White.
And all the shades in between.
We share all things life, relationships, marriage, parenting, race, and much more. If you enjoy listening to us, then please follow or subscribe to this podcast. You can also find us on Instagram and Facebook under Life in Black and White. Hello, my friend, and welcome back to Life in Black and White and all the shades in between. Hi, Yao. How are you tonight or today?
I'm good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Still happy after spending the evening with our cherubs?
Oh, yeah, we've got to love our cherubs. Our cherubs are amazing.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to find out what different
color they are.
Auras and stuff.
Yeah, they have. Yeah. Do you know what Henry told me today?
What?
He told me he wants a new mum.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know, right? I'm still processing that. So we'll have to have a chat tomorrow, but that's just to share the joys of parenting, right? So this is what I got like half an hour before recording. So this is just life, you know, and it's okay to share these things. And I can see out in your expression that we're going to have a talk tomorrow with the boys. Because I didn't tell him before. I just shared like, this is not planned or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the perfect time to tell me.
Because you can't shout, yeah.
all I know is I'm curious, very, very curious to talk about colours and stuff now, because I'm wondering if my colour has changed slightly, or it eases into it. It's a segue into main topic, isn't it?
Speaking of which, that brings us to our today's guest. When I read his story and what he does, I just knew immediately we had to have him on. So, hi, Mark. How are you?
Hi. Very well, thank you. And I'm really just listening to your story. It's like, yeah, kind of, how do you deal with that one?
Yeah.
I'm not even sure there's a colour that can deal with that one.
Oh, there's a colour. There's definitely a colour.
There must be a colour. We'll find a colour. We will find a colour. No worries.
Good. So, Mark, let's talk about you. I mentioned briefly what you do, but tell us more, please.
So if we had to give titles, there's the Global Colour Ambassador, which basically means for the past 36 years, I've kind of been giving a voice to colour. You know, it's one of those things that we kind of take for granted. It's around us from the moment we're born until the day we leave this world. And most people, apart from when they decorate or when they choose the colours to wear, are pretty much oblivious to it. Mm-hmm. But I help people to make sense of it and why they choose the colours they do. And on another level, it's my other work is, or the main work is archetypal colour psychologist, which means is I help people to understand their natural behaviours, why they do the things they do, and how they see the world from their different colour perspective.
Wow. Oh, wow. Sorry, I have to ask, is the fact that I chose a black man, does that mean anything?
No, because no,
someone who is different race to me, I mean. Does that mean anything? Just wondering, listening to...
From my perspective, no, because this is much more about what's going on the inside.
Okay.
Yeah. Personality and behaviour.
Yes, I couldn't help but ask. I'm sorry. I couldn't help but ask before we get into... It's
like one of those. It's like one of those questions, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's one of the nights for those questions.
It so is. It starts with that, and then it jumps to that. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's going to be an interesting conversation anyway.
Yeah.
So like you mentioned, it's to do with the internal world. Yeah. So what exactly you do?
So the idea is that we all have a specific colour. There's a 9 colour system.
Okay.
And each one of us relates to one of the 9 colours. It's termed a life path colour, and each one of those colours has a specific set of behaviour patterns, reactions, And then, so when you put two people together, you can understand and say, that person is being so red, and that's why maybe the green person doesn't understand them because they're coming from a different perspective.
Right.
Wow.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
So what does the color depend on?
It's very, very simple. It's worked from your date of birth.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. So we are going to do some basic mathematics. I want to take you back to early kindergarten years when we started to add numbers together.
Okay.
So you take your whole date of birth and you treat every number as a single digit.
Okay.
And then add all of those numbers together. So like if you were born on the 12th, it would be 1 plus 2, then whatever the month, then plus 1, plus 9, or plus 2 if you're born in the 2000s. Add all of those numbers together. Comes out as a single number. A big number. Keep on adding it together until it comes to a number between 1 and 9.
Wow. Okay.
So
I want to do it now, yeah.
Yeah. And if you get stuck, tell me, because I can probably work it out very quickly.
Okay, so 24th of February, 1984. That's my date of birth. So I'll do 2 plus 4.
2 plus 4 is 6, plus 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9, plus 9 is 18, plus 8 is 26. So 2...
plus 4.
26. So does it come out as 30?
30.
So it's 3 plus 0 is 3. In this system, 3 comes out as the colour yellow. Now, it doesn't mean you have to necessarily do nothing but dress in yellow from now on. No. Well, first of all, do you like yellow?
I love yellow.
Okay, that's good. And the important thing is finding your version of yellow. There's no one right shade. The only one is your version of it. And first of all, what would be your favorite yellow?
Is gold considered yellow? Because that's
it can be.
One.
Yeah.
Number one favorite color.
Yeah.
Gold. Gold shade.
Yep. And okay, let me tell you about yellow. So the one thing about yellow is their eternal question is why. They always need to understand. You can't just say, and it's because it's this. It's like, but why is it like this? I need to understand. Why is it like this? Yellow people, think of the most common symbol connected with yellow is the sun. Yeah. So it's always in the sense of kind of sunshine brings happiness. So it's about joy. So it's always asking the question is, how do you bring joy to people's lives? How do you light up people's world? And sometimes when it comes to stress, sometimes it's overthinking. Sometimes it would be lovely to have an on-off switch, specifically the off switch.
Yeah, we're showing thumbs up just to our listeners, yeah.
It really works on the listeners, I think, right?
Sorry.
Yeah, because literally, your mind with yellow people, their mind can just go on and on and on and on and on, and it's exhausting. So sometimes it would be, and it's always remembering that not everything has to be a battle, because the archetypal color psychology is every color has an archetype, and an archetype is, let's say, a pattern of behavior, and to give it that, we give it, let's say, a character, and the archetype connected to yellow is the warrior. So, a warrior, sometimes the warrior has to realize, not my battles, I can take a rest. I don't need to fight everyone's battle for them. It's like,
oh yeah, that's so true. That is so true. What are your thoughts, Yao?
Nice.
Yeah, it's just processing.
Yeah. Processing in that.
Wow.
Yeah. So in that sense, then, Yao, have you worked yours? Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's 48.
So 12 then.
So then it'll be 3. It's the same.
I wonder because overthinking when Mark mentioned that.
I was curious. What happens in those instances when
do have?
Well, on that sense, it's really good because it's like you're both coming from the same place, so you kind of get each other. So you can look at each other and say, "Just stop worrying." I know it's almost like saying, "I know what's going on inside your head. Just chill, calm it down." Kind of take some time out. So you both.
Sorry, that's such a good point because, like you overthink so much about work and all that stuff. And I tell you usually that just chill and I help you to just stop overthinking that area of your life. Whereas I overthink in different areas.
Yeah.
Like parenting, usually. And you try and calm me down in that area. So that makes perfect sense.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. And at times of stress, you just have to remember that actually there's got to be a compromise at some point because you've got 2 warriors. Think of a jousting match. When they're riding at each other with the javelin. Who's going to knock who off the horse first?
Yeah. So it's normal for the same colors, 2 people with the same color, to be overthinkers, say, or stress.
Certainly in this yellow.
But if it was a different color, it could be totally different dynamics.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Then it's interesting to from the parenting aspect. So so it's like you 2 are looking at the world through almost like a yellow lens.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Everything has to make sense. Everything. Yeah. It's almost like yellow people, to me, were the ones who created lists. Yellow people have lists. Yellow people have lists for lists for lists.
Yeah.
Spreadsheets.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Let's say if we took yellow to its absolute extreme. Do you remember kind of in Star Trek, Mr. Spock, where everything was logical?
Logical, yeah.
Yep. That is yellow to the absolute extreme. Everything has to have a logical reason.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's so interesting.
Yeah. Do you have because I'm sure our listeners are very, very curious now. Do you have, where can they find a breakdown of what each color means?
Yeah. So firstly, you can check out my website, which is colourforlife.com. And then there it says, what color are you? And if you click on that button, it will tell you how to do the calculations. And then there's a couple of sentences about each color.
Right.
But I have got a book, which you can also find on the website, which is called Add a Little Color to Your Life. And there's a new book coming soon.
Wow.
But what's interesting, so coming back to you 2, so you see the world through yellow glasses, okay? Yeah. And then what's interesting is then to look at the color of your children, to see what color they are, to see the dynamics.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because very often what happens with parents, we're kind of seeing the world through our eyes. Now, if you've got a child who's completely different color and they're doing things which don't fit, let's say, with a yellow framework, there's going to be a bit of sort of not quite matching, or there's going to be a bit of challenge at times. I think I may have told you my favorite story was working with a group of children. They're about 8 years old, and we did the whole calculations, working out their colors. And there was a little girl, she worked out she was red, and she was so red. There was no doubt she was red.
Yeah.
And then at lunchtime, she marched up to her mum and she said, "I'm red, you're green, that's why we've got problems."
That's so funny. That's amazing.
But it was then having that conversation with her mum, and her mum was obviously sort of standing there kind of like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
But when I explained the sort of the different color personalities, it helped her make sense. And then there was another mother who she thought her son was very sort of withdrawn and not really engaging with the group. But when we calculated his colour, it's like, no, he knows exactly what's going on, but he's just more of an observer and taking note rather than being fully in there.
Mm.
So it helps to understand certainly the different dynamics. And sometimes I say this, it helps parents to understand their children and children to understand their parents.
Wow. But say, okay, now we understand each other, say, with the kids, because I'm sure a lot of parents can resonate.
Yeah.
But what do you do then? Because understanding is one thing. But what's the next step then to resolve the issue?
Well, it's more about
there is an issue.
Yeah, it's more about then you know how to, let's say you're both warriors and you both, as we were saying, is like, you like spreadsheets, you like lists and things like this. Now, if you have a child who is not like that at all, there's going to be a whole different dynamic. But if you know what colour they are, it's actually saying, actually, now I can understand who they are and I can help them be themselves.
Right.
Get a chance, opportunity to just work.
They always say that
their wavelength.
You have that problem. I don't know if that's a problem, but you can often look at their perspective, or you don't see their perspective sometimes. And I think this is amazing that will help you. And me, of course, but I'm more open to it. Yeah.
Wow.
I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. Because then you can help the kind of the sort of like the family dynamics. And then sometimes, I don't know how old your children are, but kind of, how
8.
old are they?
Twins that are 8 and the youngest is 2.
Oh, yeah. And so then what can be really fun is when you know your colour, when you know all your colours, you can almost like make a mandala. Everyone can paint their hands of their colour, and then you can create it in a circle. Then you've got a family colour picture.
Oh, that's cool. We're so gonna do that. Can you imagine we're all yellow? No, we're not. No, definitely not. We wouldn't headbutt so often.
No, or we could absolutely all be yellows.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, then you'd have kind of 5 warriors in the house.
Yeah,
that would make so much sense.
Yeah, that's so true. Yeah.
What are their dates of birth? Or if you calculate their numbers, so then I'll tell you.
Twins will be the same then, no? 16, 22, so 4.
So the twins, they're green. But obviously, when you get twins, obviously you can't, because they're both green, but you'll probably say they're totally different.
Yeah.
They're different personality.
Yeah.
But then you take it a step further, and then you start translating the name into color. So you get a whole different kind of color code, and it says, so like you both are yellow.
Yeah.
But you'll probably be related to different aspects of yellow. One of you will relate more to one aspect than another. Okay. And there'll be other parts as well. It's like you can't just divide the whole population just into 9 colours.
Yeah.
You have to make it.
Yeah. So you answered that already. Thank
you. So let me tell you. So interesting combination when you have green and yellow together. So yellow, like we said, greens let me tell, first of all, green love space. They don't like feeling claustrophobic. They don't like feeling closed in. But the most important thing about green is they have their own time zone. They have their own time. You can never hurry a green.
Oh,
it's like
I don't like this anymore.
It sounds like every morning and every evening.
Yeah. You can never. The more you say we need to do this now, the more slower they will go. It's stubborn with a capital S.
Yeah. I'm surprised you're not green. Are you sure you got that right? Your numbers,
What's yellow and green mixed together?
Yeah, blue, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh.
So maybe I've got a bit of blue. There's a slight shade.
Yeah.
So,
so they kind of, they just work on their own time zone. They like space, but equally they are incredibly sensitive too. They kind of.
Oh yes, both of them, but in a different way.
Yeah,
they're extremely sensitive, emotional, both of them.
Yeah. So they will be very much heart first, head next. Whereas with yellow, when you say what do you feel, yellow's reply as well. I think I feel, because it has to go through the head first. It has to go through a filter first, in order to feel. Whereas greens will very much be based on feeling first and think afterwards.
Yeah.
So there you can see sometimes at times of stress, you'll be saying it has to be like this. This is how it has to be done. This is the perimeters, and they'll go, yeah, right. And it's not, of course, all children go through that kind of phase, but it's just knowing that from that green perspective, it's almost like you have to warm them up to the idea that change is going to happen, because they don't do well with change.
And what I love about this as well is the fact that allows you to have more compassion for yourself and for others.
Yeah.
So, I'm not crazy, or there's nothing wrong with me. It's just how I am.
Yeah.
And that's quite freeing, isn't it?
Yes, because otherwise, let's say, for example, if you were born yellow, but someone is always telling you you're green, you'll always feel as though there's something wrong with you.
Wrong. So my friend who listens to us right now, please go and check Mark's website, because it might give you it will be liberating for you, just as it is for us. And we want you to experience that for yourself. If you're not yellow or green and you don't know what your color means, so go ahead and check that now for sure.
So I'm just very curious, what is your son or daughter, the youngest one?
Oh yeah. What day?
Nice.
No, it's too many kids. Okay. So 7. He's 7.
So, that's going to be an interesting dynamic.
Surprise, baby.
I think he's the most mature in his family.
Yes. Yep. Absolutely. So his color is violet.
Okay.
Yeah. And first of all, let me go back to green. The archetype of green is the gardener. So if you think how a true gardener, they know the right time to do something, the right time to plant something, the right time to cut something back. So in a way, that's why they're very specific about the right time to do something.
Okay.
So they always know. It's almost like they're on nature time. Which is not so good when you want to get them out the door for school in the morning.
Yeah,
it's like, but then violet. This is the interesting one. The archetype for violet is the sovereign, the king.
What is it? I don't know that word. What does it mean?
So true.
The king.
King.
Yeah.
The king.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yes.
Absolutely rules the roost. I was waiting for you to just say it, but I knew.
Yep. So it's almost like he may be 2, but he may look at you as if you are the staff.
So true.
Oh my gosh.
I'm
and
sorry.
Son Henry was that, but
no.
Baby Al is,
Baby Al's just another level. He literally is just like
barks orders.
I want this.
Yep.
No, don't want it. It's gone. It's not like finish. It's that kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So again, think of the sovereign, the king. Yeah. So as he gets old, you will see it. Now the thing with that is sometimes where it gets misunderstood, certainly in school, is that behavior can be described as kind of misbehaving, out of control, kind of doesn't like to take orders. But no, it's almost like, archetypes don't have an age. Yeah. They're not kind of the king is already there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think the world will realise soon anyway.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Which will be an interesting thing, the dynamics between all the siblings.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Because
How do you think it's going to work out?
well, you've got the kind of, if think of it like this is where you can have a lot of fun with it, is if you were doing storytelling
Mhm.
in your family, you've got a king, 2 warriors, and 2 gardeners.
Well,
And
just there for
and think of it like this: if you read any stories, things like this, it's always the warriors who are serving the king.
yeah, exactly. At least the gardeners get some peace and stuff sometimes, right?
Yeah, but the king will say, "I want it now,"
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and the gardeners will be going, "No,
It's a natural process.
Yep. No, not yet. And equally, gardeners, sometimes they actually become they're great hoarders, so be careful of that. They can't let go of stuff.
Yeah.
Kind of, you can open the toy cupboards and there'll be loads of stuff, even though there could be 16 and they'll still got things from 8 years. I can't get rid of it.
Yeah. Oh.
Wow.
So
like
you can have fun with it, because literally as a family, you can sit down and tell stories.
Yeah.
It's a great family thing to do. So once upon a time, there was a warrior, and you could each give yourselves a different warrior type character. You'd have 2 gardeners and actually saying, what type am I? And make up stories.
Do many people or lots of people have violet color, or is it quite rare?
It's put it like that. There are quite a few, and they do have a lot of similarities. When they talk to each other, they go, "Yeah, well, it's like I was born to have staff." But equally, apart from that, they just have this sense of knowing who they are. So that's the thing. That's that's, I think, the benefit for me of working and helping parents and children understand themselves, because certainly nowadays, with all the pressures that are on children, be this, do that, and it tends to leave them with that feeling that somehow they're not enough, or they should be something else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whereas if they know and say, "No, this is who I am, and actually, this is totally fine. This is who I am, and that's okay."
It's okay, And with the violet, is it like when you say the king, it's not like the arrogant type of way, but the
they can have it, all colours, like kind of, they have the possibilities of going there.
Okay. So we need to rein it in.
But we have to know. It's almost like we have to push the boundaries to know the boundaries. It's like
when you understand them,
it's
a great starting point, and you can work with that.
Yeah, exactly. So as parents, if you know that you're dealing with, let's say, a sovereign or a king, you know that it has the possibility, certainly sometimes at schools, it can get squashed because it's kind of seeing it as sort of disruptive behavior, being kind of controlling or things like that, or always wanting to be bossy, things like that. It's like, no. It's just managing those qualities in a positive way.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's a great skill to have.
Absolutely. Kind of, so violets never, ever do 9 to 5.
Oh, yeah.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Never. They just kind of like, they were born, they're always ahead. And the challenge also with violet is because they're born to lead rather than follow.
Yeah.
And so knowing that, it's knowing that sometimes when we lead, that can be quite a lonely place at times, because we don't always feel we belong.
Yeah.
Whereas if you know that, as parents, you can help navigate that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
So what? Don't tell Henry that.
No, don't worry. But you know what? I can't help but think now, say, you're not violet, but you want to have those qualities. Can you?
Yeah.
Or any other color, doesn't matter. Can you learn that? Or
you can, but it's almost like every color has leadership abilities, but it's almost like they'll just do it in a very different way.
Mm-hmm.
In a very sort of different way. So, like, let's say coming back to greens, they will lead from the heart.
Yeah.
So that becomes their sort of strength, because it's almost like they want to do that, and they want everyone to benefit.
Yeah. Well,
so they do come from a different perspective. And let's say, not forgetting the warriors, you can't forget the parents.
Wow. And what else can you how else can you use this knowledge?
From a everyday perspective, you could ask them, well, what shade and tone of these colours do you like? And you could introduce it, even if it's in the smallest item, and put it in their bedroom. So there's always this sort of symbol somewhere which says, this is you. This is just that little reminder of who you are. You look at all of that, you could bring in sort of different shades of violet or pale something. So everyone's got their colour. Find your versions of yellow. You might have both different versions of yellow. Just that's one way you can introduce it on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah. Just listening to it, I wonder, how is this different to, say, star signs, or what you call it? It's very popular these days. Human design.
Yeah. So star signs, yes, you could say there are similarities. So instead of using like Aries, I'm using colours. And to me, we're always looking for thousands of years, we've always been looking for ways to understand who we are and how we fit in the world and how to make sense of the world.
Yeah.
So in a way, this is another system to help you to make sense of the world. And equally with human design, I think from what I understand of human design, you have to know your time of, like astrology, you need your time of birth as well, etc. So, and yeah, human design, I would imagine, appeals very much to yellow people.
Yeah, I've heard of it, and it really got my attention, but I never really got into that. I like this color thing much more because it's fun as well. You know? Yes,
there is. Obviously, we're using the medium of numbers, so we have to give credit to Pythagoras, who is the so that's so he created, let's say, numerology. And then somewhere along the way, and there's no one specific person, but somewhere along the way, numbers and colours. And so it's basically like saying, way I link it is saying, when you say number one sounds very different to number two. If you put it through a sound machine, the sound waves of red would look very different to orange.
Yeah.
So basically we're working with energy, frequency, vibration. So I was taught that, and then over the years I've, studied kind of Jungian psychology, archetypes and things like that. And then I started putting the two together because as a way to help people, because like I can say to you, you're yellow, and I can describe, but it's like, yeah, and now what am I supposed to do with it? But helping you to putting it in a framework by saying, well, actually, this relates to the warrior. It gives you a bit more of an helping you to think, no, actually, do you know what? I don't need to fight every battle. Every situation I come into doesn't need me to actually win it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's exhausting.
Oh, 100%. But you know what? Now I'm wondering, say, I'm an overthinker, yeah? And now...
No, you're not.
Now you said I was born with it, yeah? So does it not create the impression in people that, oh, I can't change that because this is who I am, if it's something you do?
So I would say if someone overthinks things, it's very often because your gift is thinking. So how are you using it?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
If it's not being used, it's going to turn on you.
Yeah.
So turn it around, because otherwise what yellow is like, if yellow gets bored, firstly, let me tell you, when yellow gets bored, you can't hide it. Everyone will tell you that it's not what you say, but you have a certain look which conveys everything.
Very true.
And so it's like, if your mind is not being used, basically it will almost like it says, well, I'm bored. Let me put myself under the microscope and let me analyze every little detail, every little piece of behavior, and let me give myself a hard time because I'm not using it.
Yeah.
So
wow.
true.
So true. That's so you though, yeah.
Isn't it?
I think, Mark, we should pay you for therapy now.
You've saved us from months and months of therapy. So thank you very much. Listening to what you say, and so many of the things that you said about the whole yellow stoner and things.
You look it up properly on the website.
It really does resonate.
Yeah.
If
you hit the nail on the head.
And the funny thing is, I'm quite outgoing and very kind of positive person anyway. But if I'm not happy or I'm not,
everyone else.
Yeah,
you can look at. I look at you and I know.
It's it's a complete change to my whole everything. I'm not. I'm suddenly, and then it's not. And then it's like, okay, there's something there.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting.
So ideally for yellows, what they should is, if you're feeling stressed, is literally either write it out or draw it out and just stop it, so it stops it going round and round from in here. And you just, even if it's just doodling on paper, even if it's just writing, but it has to get out. Otherwise, it will just go round and round. It will get worse.
Journaling.
And I always used to brainstorm. Loads. I used to sit there and just, I'll have like an A3 sheet and I can fill it up with all the thoughts and stuff that would go through my. I stopped doing that because it was. Maybe that's an internal thing.
And just to say, for two yellows, think of it like this. Come back to that yellow relates to the sun. So the sun, and this is sort of being yellow, sometimes people confined it, will always say, stop being so positive, or they will find your positivity too much.
Yeah.
But what you have to remember is, think of it like this. The sun never apologizes for shining too brightly. So never let anyone, as two yellows, try to dim your light.
Oh, we're two sunshines, and Joe, even me. I know, I'm joking. It's just,
because yellow does tend to think their challenge is to get out of their head and into their body.
This is amazing.
And just to sort of relax and have fun.
Yeah.
So interesting.
Wow. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Beginning the book. You work with families, you mentioned, but what exactly do you do? Or, that's all basically,
So basically, it is exactly that, what we've been doing here, kind of like talking about the sort of the different characteristics, the personalities. So it's in a way helping everyone to know each other and allowing everyone to be themselves.
Yeah.
I remember working with one family, or with the adult daughter, and she always felt she was violent, and her parents were, what were they? They were, I can't remember what color were they, but they were like looking through the lens of their color and thinking that there was something wrong with her. Whereas actually when we talked about this, it helped everyone make sense of each other. And it stopped them trying to force her to be like this.
Yeah.
And her allowed to be herself.
Yeah. And that must be so rewarding for you as well, now to see the results of your work. Wow. That must be.
Yeah. And then working sometimes with children, when I was working in another country, some of the children who had been experienced bullying, and sitting down and talking to them about their colour, and then talking about the archetypes, you know, and translating that into children's language. It's almost like thinking of them as superheroes, you know, and saying, you know, this is who you are. This is let's say, this is your superpower.
Yeah.
You can tap into this anytime you want. So even let's say even like gardeners have magic, if you like, you know, they can make things grow. They can stop things from growing. Think of all the seasons. You know, there's strengths in all of them. So then it boosts their confidence and their esteem. And then I had someone who literally took the book and they took it into kindergarten. She was a kindergarten teacher. And they sat down and she was talking to all the children, because it was basic math, like doing the calculations and helping them understand like how everyone was different just from their colour.
Yeah.
And saying, oh, that's why that one does that, and that's why she does that, and understanding. And like you said, it's really, you can take it really deeply, or you can just treat it as really fun. Like for children, it's like saying, hey, yeah, I'm red, I'm green, and kind of like, you know,
embracing that differences, and that's
yes,
that should be taught at school. Like really, that should be one of the first things, because now these
no, I was going to say, what's interesting is when I work overseas, the children, yes, they embrace it, the schools love it, and etc. But here in the UK, we just have to find a different way to actually introduce it. Sometimes it has to come as sort of a after-school curricula, or you have to get someone who introduces it in a subtle way.
I take it it's because of the politics and stuff behind it.
Yeah.
Such a shame, no? Because so many, every child almost is forced to be something they're not.
Yes.
And they feel like a failure if they're not good at certain things. And that drives them crazy. It shouldn't be the case.
No.
You can't be good at everything, because then you're good at nothing.
No, I was going to say, because it then takes it on to a sort of a much deeper level, and saying that, you know, we're all born to be a somebody.
Yeah.
And so if you can recognize that that we're all born with everything we need sort of internally to be fully ourselves. So we're never lacking. Whereas the way I see it at the moment, the way the world is, and certainly for young people, I know when I look at how the world is now for young people, I would not, I don't know whether you think this, but I wouldn't want to be a young person now. I think the challenges that they have to deal with now, the pressure, it seems so much more.
Yeah.
And so I think if there's tools which can help children feel that they are enough from the inside, then great.
Do you also do like workshops and trainings, or
yes,
all of it?
I know. And that's the thing I was I don't know if I said to you at the beginning, is it's not the kind of thing, I never sort of went to school and said, one day I went to the careers office and said, I want to work with colour.
Yeah.
It was a bizarre thing. Well, when I was about 6 or 7, I remember going to my grandmother's on a Sunday morning, and there was some glass beads on the window ledge, and the light was coming, the sun was shining through, and there was rainbows on the ceiling. And I remember being absolutely captivated by these rainbows on the ceiling. It's like they were full of magic and stories.
Yeah.
And little knowing that was going to be my future.
Yeah.
You're
like someone from a fairy tale, no? And you have the looks as well, and wow.
But I think it's true for, I always say when adults kind of say, oh, I don't know what I should be doing with my life, I say, look back to your childhood, because all the clues are in our childhood. What did you love doing? What games did you like playing? You know, were you the leader? Were you the one, the instigator? Were you the one who just was happy to play along and support everyone else? All clues.
So true.
You don't know to recognise that, do you, at the time?
Yeah.
And it takes a long time.
Like I said, we were born perfect, and then it just went wrong at some point.
Yes.
So,
No, it's just the environment, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. And just disconnect from the real you, and what you do as well, that helps to connect with our true essence. So thank you, Mark, for this. This is amazing work, and I don't know if you realize actually what you do. A great difference in the world. So thank you.
Yeah, it's that sense of like just saying, so be yellow, be the best version of yellow you can be.
Yeah.
Oh, we do our best. Like I can see in his eyes, like he is so impressed with us.
Especially this year, I've taken a lot of kind of look at self-beliefs, look at morals, look at ethics, and putting that mirror up to me and things, and sometimes not always liking what I particularly see.
Yeah.
What you kind of said there, especially involved in how I kind of view myself and how I review everything, and I do. I may not always come across and say, but I am always thinking, and I'm always kind of thinking all the time and things, and it's just brought a lot of it kind of home, and it's nice. It's nice to understand that side of me and things as well. It's great for the journey.
Yeah. I would say, when you say that, I would say the majority of people, and I think it's true for everyone, I include myself, most of us just want to be seen for who we are.
Yeah.
Mm.
And it being
a lot for it.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And saying, yep, this is me.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yep. Don't mean to add you to just other members that we've had on this podcast.
Yeah.
But I'm not joking. Our journey since we've started this has been amazing. The people that we've met through this, and
we couldn't plan this. How it benefits us.
Sure.
It's just brilliant. It's just, I don't want to keep saying it's amazing.
But we get to know new people, their stories, what they do, and that's just so rewarding to do this. It is. See, and I had to convince you.
Here we go.
It took me a year to get him on board, but now I have it on record.
I'm going to do some editing later.
Yeah.
No, thank you. Thank you so much.
Sorry, is there anything we haven't asked that you would like to add?
No, I'm just thinking is like from because some of the stuff I do is also work with film, and so I'm always telling people to actually kind of so a film which would be really good for yellow. I don't know if you've already seen it, but it's the film called The Help. It was back into the early 2000s. It's with Viola Davis. And it's the reason I say, because it's got it's got the many sides of yellow and the warrior. Because when the warrior is not the true warrior, they actually become more like the servant.
Oh.
The servant is the person who gives up their hopes and dreams for other people to the detriment of themselves.
Right.
And the film literally is called The Help. And it's set in, 1950s in the deep South in America. And it's the story of a writer who writes the stories of The Help.
Yeah.
And you have to think of warrior.
Yeah.
There's so many ways to be the warrior. Like in this story, The Help, the pen is her sword. So you have to think about in what way, where is my sword? Is it through what I say? Is it through what I write? Think of things about that metaphorical sense as where is the sword? So go out and just keep on those days when the sun doesn't shine, just keep saying, I was born to shine.
Oh, we're putting that on the wall, Angel.
Yep.
Putting that on the wall as our motto.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
Change the name of the podcast. Or another subtitle.
Yeah.
I love that. Thanks so much, Mark. Again, you have no idea, like really, like what this meant to us, and hopefully to our listeners as well. Our listener, our friend, if you enjoy this episode, please leave us a review and share this with people who you think would benefit from it as well. Because, but to be honest, I think everyone would benefit from this one. So just share it everywhere you can, basically. Thanks so much for listening, for being here, and see you in 2 weeks.